Two people, same city, same starting salary, same opportunities sitting right in front of them. 10 years later, one of them is wealthy, not rich looking, not faking it on Instagram. Actually, quietly, undeniably wealthy. The other one is still exactly where they started, working just as hard, maybe harder, wondering what went wrong. Here's what most people never figure out. The difference was never the money, never the luck, never the timing. It was something happening long before any of that. Something invisible, something inside. The wealthy person had already become wealthy in their mind years before their bank account ever reflected it. That's not motivation talk. That's psychology. That's what this video is about. Today, I'm breaking down every psychological habit of wealthy people, not the surface stuff. Not wake up at 5 a.m. and drink water. The deep, invisible, counterintuitive mental patterns that separate the people who build lasting wealth from the people who earn well and stay broke. Stay until the end, because the last habit is the one nobody talks about, and it might be the most powerful thing you hear all year. If you're done with average, comment the word wealth right now. Let's go. The first psychological habit is identity before outcome, and this one changes everything. Most people treat wealth like a destination. They wait for the raise, the business to take off, the investment to pay out. They think wealth is something that happens to them. Wealthy people think completely differently. Before the money arrives, before the success is visible, they have already decided who they are. They make financial decisions not based on who they currently are, but based on who they have already decided to become. A wealthy person doesn't say, "I'll start investing when I have more money." They say, "I am someone who invests." Then they find the $10 to prove it. This isn't delusion. This is how the brain works. Your identity is a filter. Every decision you make passes through the question, what would someone like me do? Change the identity. You change every decision. Change every decision. You change the destination. A man I know earned $55,000 a year and spent $54,500. Same story for 6 years. He shifted his identity from someone trying to save to someone who builds wealth. Automated $200 monthly. Small, almost invisible. Year 1, $2,400 saved. Year 3, $800 monthly invested without feeling deprived. Year 6, $60,000 in the market. Same income, different identity, different life entirely. Who you believe you are determines every financial choice you make. But identity alone means nothing without the second habit, because this is where most people crack. The second psychological habit is treating discomfort like currency. Most people spend their entire lives running from financial discomfort. Uncomfortable conversation about money, avoid it. Uncomfortable investment decision, delay it. Uncomfortable truth about spending, ignore it. Every time you run, you pay a price, not in money, in potential. Wealthy people don't enjoy discomfort. Nobody does, but they read it as a signal, not a stop sign. On the other side of every uncomfortable thing they don't avoid is something the person who ran never gets to have. The science is clear. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, literally grows stronger every time you choose discomfort over avoidance. A woman I know avoided looking at her finances for 3 years. The debt was $22,000. The avoidance made it $31,000. She finally sat down, looked at every number, felt the full weight of it, and made one decision. Redirected $300 monthly to her highest interest debt. 3 years later, debt gone. 2 years after that, $18,000 invested. The discomfort she avoided for 3 years cost her $9,000. The discomfort she finally faced built her a future, Discomfort is not the enemy of wealth. It is the price of entry. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Because running toward discomfort requires a very specific kind of thinking. That's the third habit. The third psychological habit is thinking in decades, while everyone else thinks in months. Ask someone who is broke what they're thinking about financially, and they'll tell you about this month's bills and next week's paycheck. Ask someone who is wealthy, and they'll tell you about where they want to be in 10 years and what decisions today serve that version of their life. Psychologists call this temporal discounting. The human brain naturally values things that are close in time over things that are far away. Wealthy people have trained themselves to override this bias completely. Here's the math that should keep you up at night. Two people, both 25 years old. Person A invests $200 monthly for 10 years, then stops completely. Person B waits 10 years, then invests $200 monthly for 30 years. At 65, person A has more money, by almost $80,000. 10 years of early action beats 30 years of delayed action. The wealthy person starts before they feel ready because they're thinking about 65, not today. But long-term thinking only works if you protect the resource that makes it possible. And that's the fourth habit. The fourth psychological habit is protecting attention, like it is money, because it is. Your attention is a product being sold. Every notification, every scroll, every perfectly engineered piece of content is designed to take the one resource that determines your financial future and hand it to advertisers. And most people give it away for free every single day without a second thought. A Princeton study found that a scarcity of attention produces the same cognitive damage as losing 13 IQ points. When your mental bandwidth is consumed by noise, you literally cannot think clearly about money. You make reactive decisions, emotional decisions, expensive decisions. Scattered attention produces impulsive spending every single time. A couple I know tracked their attention and their spending side by side for 30 days. The correlation was almost perfect. The weeks they consumed the most social media were the weeks they spent the most on things they didn't need. They implemented one rule: no social media before any financial decision. Saved $400 in the first month alone. Same income. Protected attention. Completely different decisions. Your attention is the most expensive thing you own. Stop giving it away for free. Now here's the habit that makes everything else sustainable. Without this one, all the others eventually collapse. The fifth psychological habit is radical ownership. No exceptions. No excuses. Ever. This is the one most people resist. It requires looking at your financial life. Everything that's gone wrong. Every missed opportunity, every bad decision, and saying, I did this. Not the economy, not my upbringing, not the system. Me. Not because the system is fair. It isn't. But the moment you locate the cause of your financial situation outside yourself, you also locate the solution outside yourself. And now you are powerless. There is a direct psychological link between believing your actions determine your outcomes and long-term wealth accumulation. Study after study confirms it. People who take ownership take more action, recover faster from setbacks, and build more wealth over time. Not because life is more fair to them, because they don't stop when it isn't. A man I know lost his job at 41. $8,000 in savings. 2 kids. He had every right to be a victim, but he said out loud on the day he was let go, "This is mine to solve." 6 months later, he had built a consulting practice. Year 2, earning $30,000 more than his previous salary. Same skills, same market, completely different psychological stance. Ownership is not a moral position. It is the most financially powerful decision you will ever make. And the sixth habit is what ownership produces when you apply it every single day. The sixth psychological habit is building wealth identity through tiny daily proof points. Identity doesn't change through big dramatic decisions. It changes through small repeated evidence. Every time you do what a wealthy person would do, even something tiny, you cast a vote for the identity you're building. And over time, those votes accumulate into an unshakable belief about who you are. This is why the amount almost doesn't matter at the beginning. Investing $10 is not about the $10. It is about becoming someone who invests. Saying no to one unnecessary purchase is not about that purchase. It is about building the psychological muscle of someone who chooses the future over the present moment. Wealthy people are always building the evidence, always casting votes, always choosing the action that confirms the identity they've decided to inhabit. Start today, not with a big decision, with the smallest possible proof point. Transfer $5 to savings right now. Make one less purchase this week. These are not financial actions. They are identity actions. An identity, built one tiny proof point at a time, is the foundation that every single dollar of lasting wealth is eventually built on. So here's everything in one breath. Wealthy people shift their identity before their bank account changes. They run toward discomfort instead of away from it. They think in decades, while everyone else panics about months. They protect their attention like money, because attention is money. They take radical ownership of everything, including the unfair parts. And they build their identity every single day through tiny invisible proof points that compound over years into something undeniable. Pick one, the one that stings a little when you hear it. That sting is the signal. That's the one that changes the most for you. Because wealth was never about money first. It was always about the mind first. Change the mind. The money follows, not immediately, not dramatically, but quietly, consistently, and eventually, completely. If this shifted how you see wealth, comment the word mindset right now and hit subscribe. Because the biggest financial decision you'll ever make isn't an investment or a business. It's the decision to think differently. Starting today,